Hi, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Good News Conversations here on the Albuquerque Journal Podcast Network. I'm your host, Good News reporter Gino Gutierrez, and I'm very lucky to be joined by a very special guest, Linda Stover, Bernalillo County Clerk. And Madam Clerk, thank you so much for joining us, especially during a very busy time of the year for you. We have an election coming up. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
And Madam Clerk, you're here for a very special reason and a very cool reason. We have some very awesome I voted stickers that are going to be rolling out this year during the general election, but they have a special twist to them. I was hoping you could tell our listeners what that is.
Well, we had started this back right before the pandemic, and it got canceled. And then this being my last year, I thought, boy, it'd be great to bring these I voted stickers back. So we went to APS, who has been a delightful partner with us all 8 years that I've been here, and suggested it to them and threw it to them, and they said, that's a great idea. So we went from kindergarten through 12th grade through the special arts classes, and kids made I voted stickers. They're about 2 inches around of art from New Mexico. And it's just been such a fun thing. We had 287 students send in samples. We have now got 12 that'll be rolling out in the November election.
And Madam Clerk, these designs that you mentioned, there's 12 finalists. These designs encompass all sorts of different things that really represent New Mexico. And I remember when we talked in April, when you handed out some awards for a few of the designers, you really talked about how you wanted these stickers to not really encompass a lot of political visuals, things of that nature. You just wanted them to be about New Mexico and about getting young kids excited about the election. Now seeing the final 12 designs, I know you were smiling all last night when you were doing a proclamation to honor these kids, but now to see the designs in person, just what that means to you.
You know, we had so much fun because one of them is Day of the Dead, Dietos, this is Go Vota. Another one was I'm so happy I got to vote today. A lot of them had green chili. A lot of them had red chili, had Zia signs. Some had the balloon fiesta and then other things on it. It was delightful to do this. I wish we could have used all 287. They were all good.
And 287 is quite a lot of artwork because these came from kids all across APS, all across the district. Were you kind of surprised at the amount of turnout you guys got from the designs?
I think we all were. We were hopeful that it would catch on and that kids would have fun with it, but they really did. The teachers got behind it, too. The art teachers got into it and started encouraging kids to draw things. We had coyotes, we had dogs, we had flags. It was just so much fun. It really was a delightful thing.
And Madam Clerk, you mentioned that this was an idea that you kind of had permeating in your head prior to the pandemic. I know you mentioned you kind of wanted to start it, and then the pandemic kind of hit.
Right.
And then you went a couple years where it was kind of, you weren't able to execute it. Now that you're finally able to execute it, it not only got such a huge response, but now voters come November are going to be walking out with an I voted sticker designed by an APS student. Just, what it means to see this idea finally come to full fruition.
Well, it was exciting for us and the parents that were there last night. You saw how excited they were. They were happy for their children and that they got involved. When kids get involved like this, we've worked with APS so many times now, it gets you excited to know that there's really nice, young, good people out there, young people that are interested in their community, that want to help and do good things, that laugh and have a good time. You don't always get to see the good ones.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking a little bit about, you did a proclamation ceremony last night for some of the artists at the Bernalillo County Commission meeting. They took a photo with you, all the Bernalillo commissioners. And it's interesting. These kids, as you mentioned, you wanted to get them interested in the civic process, but you could kind of see on a few of their faces, I don't think they realized how big of a meaning this really had.
Well, they're young. They've never been to a county commission. They don't even know what a county commission is. So it was exciting for them, and it should have been. Now, hopefully, they'll go back to school and get involved in maybe their school activities, their school education and election process. We've done a lot of that through the years, too.
Yeah, and I talked to one of the students in particular. Her name was Aubrey Vanderlip, and she talked a little bit about the process and how she got interested in it. She came from a family of artists, kind of saw the announcement for the sticker contest on her Google Classroom for one of her teachers, and went home and said, talked to her family, kind of was interested in it. And said, I want to make something memorable. And she ended up being one of the 12 finalists. Her I voted sticker features the Zia symbol in the place of the O, and it says I voted. And it's just an awesome process to see the kids get so involved. And I know for you personally, you're just proud to get young people involved in the civic process.
Oh, absolutely. Aubrey was one of the top 3. We did first, second, and third at the APS ceremony that you were at, and she was one of the top 3. And it was exciting for me to see her get so excited, and her tears come out, and she was excited to play, and it was fun.
And it's cool, Madam Clerk, to get them interactive with a I voted sticker, because I know come election season, I voted stickers are on Instagram stories, they're on Snapchat stories, they're on social media. It's basically like the thing everybody posts showing that they were involved in the democratic process. So now they're going to have a very unique design. I'm sure for you come November, you're going to be walking around. I know you're going to be busy, but you're also going to be seeing who got what sticker, I would imagine.
I'm going to have all 12 of them stuck on me somewhere. I think people will come out, aunts, uncles, so hoping to get somebody's art that they're going to see. It'll be all over 72 polling locations, so it's exciting. It'll be New Mexico kids at their finest.
And it'll be a great thing for our listeners as well. I'm sure it's another incentive now to get involved in the upcoming general election. But it's not the only way you guys have been getting involved with APS. We have a very special book here. It's the Bernalillo County About My County Activity Book. And this one is really cool because it's another collaboration with APS, and it helps get kids educated about the county government itself and the entities and what they do. And you mentioned this is the second edition of the book. Mm-hmm. What kind of content's in here?
It covers every single solitary department in Bernalillo County. It will explain. I know my grandson used to say, I want to be the tax man. My daddy's money goes to taxes. This explains how your tax dollars are broken down. It's geared for 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, and APS actually picked it up. I came up with this book because when I started working with APS, they didn't have anything like this for civics for little people. And we started working on it. I wrote the book. My friend illustrated it, Tiffany Chambly, and we took it to APS, and they loved it. So we go into the schools and we teach it. We have classes, and we go over all this. It covers the clerks. It covers 911, what you really need to know when you call 911, the Treasury, the Assessor's Office, how your land is appreciated, what happens when your parents buy a house, how it gets recorded, and how the deed becomes theirs. It's very interesting.
So, Madam Clerk, I'm interested. What inspired this?
I belong to a group called NACO, National Association of Counties, and I was talking to some people there, and I was griping about how we don't have things for APS. Well, for schools, for us. For me, it was APS. And we started collaborating on this, and it became a national thing. But I brought it home to New Mexico and did it in Albuquerque, and I just am really pleased with it. Every time we change the commission, we change the emojis. So it's fun, and we update it. Yeah, you have to kind of play a game. You have to pay attention. When I first did this, I gave it to some of the teachers, and they called me and said, "Can you do a teacher's version?" So, because they didn't know the answers. So that was kind of fun. So now we have a teacher's version.
Yeah, I was flipping through the book before we came on, and the first thing that popped into my head was, I kind of wish I would have had something like this when I was in elementary school. Even now, I was flipping through it and just realized that Walt Benson is my county commissioner.
There you go.
I didn't even know who my county commissioner was. So for me, at my age, not knowing that and being able to access this, I'm sure for the kiddos, this is a wealth of knowledge that is really, really needed for them.
It gives them a good education on their local government. My mom was helping me proofread it as I was doing it, and she'd say, "I didn't know that. I didn't know that." So it's a great little resource.
And Madam Clerk, your office obviously partnered with APS for the I Voted stickers. You have this in schools and curriculum. I'm curious, what was the driving force behind you getting involved with APS? What inspired you to pursue that?
My daughter-in-law is a teacher. I had a grandson at that time when I first came in that was young in elementary school. And I wanted to be part of what they were doing. And I realized that Sam really didn't know anything about what I was going to do as a county clerk. So I wanted him to learn. And that's really what kind of brought it about.
Yeah, and I can see, we've had numerous conversations over the past month about the I Voted sticker. I know how important that relationship is to you, and how important it is that these kids have a grasp of understanding of not only what you do as county clerk and the importance of, as we mentioned, elections and civic duty and things of that nature, but how important the county is to everything that goes on, not only in Albuquerque, but outside of the city as well.
All counties follow pretty much the same thing, just not as big. Mm-hmm. We've worked with APS. We've done elections in the different schools. We've actually taken ballot on demand and tabulators and let them vote and elect their officers for their schools.
Oh, wow.
And we hung up the numbers at the end of the day so they could see who won. We do a lot of things with Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, Eagle Scouts to get their civics badges. We go in and teach those classes. And I think there's no better place to be for learning for us to teach young people than to go into the schools.
That's fantastic. And Madam Clerk, the I Voted stickers are not the only good news story we've done that has involved you and your office. I'm going to take us back a little bit to February, and I know to one of your favorite traditions that you've done in your office, Valentine's Day weddings.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit how'd you get the idea to start doing these?
I actually started marrying people about the first year that I was there. An older couple came in, and she had been ill, and they wanted to get married because they had lived together a long time because of retirements and Social Security and stuff. They hadn't gotten married. So I was able to get online and become a pastor, a minister, and I married them. And then people started calling. And then the judges were getting so heavy on Valentine's Day. And I thought, well, heck, we could do that. So we now decorate. We get more people than the judges do. We dress it up really well. You came to the last one. Tears, everything. The Navajo wedding. You were there for the Navajo wedding, weren't you? When
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and the circle that they formed after the wedding, and they held hands, and we got to pray. Oh my gosh, I was so touched by that. I felt like I got that gift that they shared with us that day. It's an exciting I'm a Marion Clerk. You want to get married? I'll marry you.
And yeah, we were there this Valentine's Day. It was a beautiful day. You were actually able to go outside. You were on the balcony there at the county building. And you had a pretty wide variety of couples, from young couples to couples that were in their 50s, 60s. I believe one was even in their 70s, a wide range. And, I could just tell by the look on your face that this probably is one of the favorite things you do all year long.
Oh, to help somebody start a new life together, to share in somebody's love, that's a gift. That's a gift they give me, and I just get to participate.
And the weddings themselves, they're not as official as... you don't have all the pomp and circumstance of the church wedding, but there was something so powerful about how intimate the ceremonies were, and how impactful they were for the people.
Well, the people brought their best man and their witnesses or their parents or their kids. One couple had their dog. Remember, the dog was so important. And it is very intimate and close. It doesn't make the love any less if we're not standing someplace else. It was very full of love that day.
So I'm curious, is there a competition between you and the judges down at Metro Court? Do you guys compare numbers on who marries more couples that day?
We got more judges.
Yeah.
I try to do one every 30 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, because you were moving that day.
Let's kiss and make up and get on.
So you've been doing it, Madam Clerk, now. Obviously been in office for 8 years. Any memorable weddings come to mind?
There was one couple that we married. And the fellow's mother had passed away, so she wasn't going to be able to be there. But he had a picture of her. And we had a little arch drawn up and put up that they could stand under. So I got the picture and tied it up in there to where she was hanging with him and he could see her. Oh, my gosh. None of us could hardly get through that one. But his mom got to be with him on his wedding day. And that was really a special one.
It's fantastic. And you are nearing the end of your term as county clerk. I'm just kind of curious. You've been in office for 8 years now. What's the most memorable part of this position? What are you going to take away from it?
Oh, golly. The job has been great, but I think probably the people that I work with. The people in Bernalillo County are very, very fortunate to have the people that work in this clerk's office, because they're the ones that really run the elections and make them go off smoothly. We can guide and help and show, but the people that volunteer and come and work, they're the people you go to church with, that live next door to you, your grandparents. Most of them are seniors. We have 72 polling locations. There's anywhere from 6 to 10 of these people at each polling location. Those are the unsung heroes of elections in Bernalillo County.
What are you going to miss most about it?
The whole thing. This has been a bucket list. I have been truly blessed to have this as being part of my life. So I feel very fortunate.
That's fantastic. Madam Clerk, thank you so much. The I Voted stickers designed by 12 APS students. So we'll have definitely have our voters keep an eye out for that one. I know you mentioned you're planning on starting a collection with all of them. So it's just amazing. It was such a cool program. So cool to see the kids getting involved in there. And I'm sure for you, just the smiles on their faces is probably going to be forever imprinted on your soul, I would imagine.
Oh, yes. And the thank yous. I got lots of hugs. That was really nice.
It's amazing. Madam Clerk, thank you so much for spending some time for talking about the I Voted Stickers Initiative, the awesome About My County activity book. I'm certainly going to take this back and learn more about Bernalillo County, probably try to catch up to the kids that are in 5th grade now.
No more than you.
And thank you for sharing some stories about the Valentine's Day weddings and all the happy couples that you've shepherded into an eternity of life, together. Yeah.
We can only hope.
You can only hope. Madam Clerk, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Gino, for having me here. I enjoyed this. Thank you.